Yes, I'm afraid that if I do a master's degree or a PhD, it's not really to attempt to apply the skill sets in, let's say, work industries or be of service. Um, I would, except I know it wouldn't work or make a difference, or I wouldn't be allowed to. Why would I still do a master's and PhD? Well, I have goals, and I also like to be challenged, and I don't have a terminal diagnosis. And so I would do that stuff, right? I need to keep proving that I'm me, but I don't need to prove it to myself. Why not? There's already years and years of documentation online that I really am who I claim to be. Today, there's been some negative social events here where I live, and some of it was targeted towards me, and it was an explanation was given for why it's been toxic like this for a couple of months, and the explanation is it's an incorrect belief somebody has about my beliefs, and uh, and that person I know was probably led to believe this by another toxic person. Somebody that when I first moved in here said, "Oh, there's toxic people here," but I didn't know how much he was in the top three. And and then I said, "Well, that's incorrect." And then it's easy for me to prove that. But they walked away. They cling to their assumption. But it's not just here, and it's not. I've gotten better at not taking it personally, but it's still there's a despair when you know how far gone we are as a species, and how let's say I have the skill sets as a life skills coach or a critical thinker or a communicator to make corrections or teach these skills to somebody else. It won't happen. People don't want to learn these skills. They don't want to be corrected. They want to hold on to their hatred or toxicity, and it's not just here. You can see it in the news, right? You can see it that a lot of the conflicts, let's say between elites or nations, is usually based on what they don't realize is a double standard that makes them as much a villain as the other people that are probably villains as well. But they suffer from the same thing, this double standard. They also are so poor at thinking. And again, I've been mentioning this for years. When the form of thinking of the species you share DNA with, that I do, it's when the main form of thinking through intellectual laziness is now assumptions. And assumptions where there'll be an intensity to not correct them. Because you're screwed. You know that it's not about fossil fuels anymore. It's just about what's wrong up here, that it's getting worse. Because when it gets a certain point, the tipping point was passed in the 1960s, is our ability even to think is just going down this steep hill. The ability to be critical thinkers or to communicate in a way to figure out there might be assumptions and what they are, and the outcome that came from these assumptions, and how then when it's realized to take ownership because there's a lot of apologies. For example, I'm reading a book on traveling to Central America, and I'm reading about what, let's say, the Catholic Church or other Christians have done when they went to Central America. Is the new Pope should be given apologies every day for the rest of, because what they did not that long ago, and it's never been apologized or fully acknowledged. It's a species that's gone. It's gone. The very concept of elitism as well makes it that whoever's up there, even if they did have the skill sets to see they made an assumption and to see how it had an impact on hundreds of thousands, millions of people, is they won't get to the type of apology that would help them undergo the maturation process.